average criteria, and oh what? Everybody's different. Everybody's special in their own way. And so I don't think that they should be X'd out or just pushed away like African Americans were during the Civil Rights Movement. Because think of how you would feel if you wanted to marry the same gender as you, and you couldn't. That's how black people felt when they wanted to marry white people back in the American Civil Rights Movement. They couldn't.
You know, I think there's an interesting item here that we'd like to sort of bring in, because I think you've mentioned the Stonewall riots, and you've also made some kind of comparison to the same riots in California at the time,
the LA
riots at the same time, and I think that most people don't understand. Well, why don't you talk about that? Because
earlier I was thinking about it, and not that I'm really comparing the LA riots to the Stonewall riots, but they were both triggered by an event that shook up a community. The Rodney King beating shook up the African American community. The LA riots. Police rage shook up the gay community. Stonewall riots. It's ignorance shaking up people, making them do irrational things. Ignorance is the main component in this. What if Rodney King was never severely beaten? I'm not gonna say that there weren't that there wouldn't have been the LA riots, but Rodney King's beating inspired the LA riots. So there might not have been LA riots. That's just like me trying to say if Adolf Hitler was never born, there wouldn't have been a Holocaust. There could have been somebody other than Hitler who could have inspired a thing like the Holocaust. We'll never know. But still, if the police had never started to raid Stonewall and raid it, we might not have had the Stonewall riots. But then, without the Stonewall riots, we wouldn't have had that catalyst to push off the LGBT movement in America. But see, even without it, gay people probably would not have still been able to get married to this day, because as I was saying, this has been people have accepted this even before the 18th century. And so you really got to think about it. It's almost like, I mean, you aren't any better than a person because of beliefs. Like, that's like me going down the street and saying, hey, I'm better than you because I'm a Methodist and you're a Catholic. So, I mean, that's your way of life and my way of life. Everybody should be able to express themselves as they wish to express themselves. And the LGBT movement is similar to bullying. I mean, you are scared to be yourself and to come out and be your true self because of how society is going to look at you. I used to be scared to do so-and-so. I'd be scared to speak out in class or have elaborate answers to questions because I'd see my classmates just glare at me and say, wow, she's so-and-so and so-and-so. But then I overcame that. I'm proud of who I am. And I will stand up in class and I will say what I want to and I will have the most elaborate answer you might ever hear. Okay, because I'm true to myself.
And Alana, I think, and while you're dealing with all of these elaborate answers that you're giving us now, and we certainly appreciate that. What we're going to do, we're going to take this second commercial break, and then when we come back, I want you to get into other aspects of this movement and the impact that it is having. And we appreciate the information that we're receiving, and we'll be back with our audience following this very, very short commercial break. Thank you and welcome back to the final segment of the show for today. We're talking to Alana McLaughlin, and she's given us some information in reference to the Stonewall riots and some of the things that happened in reference to the LGBT movement in reference to this riot, as well as the so-called LA riots that occurred at approximately the same time. And I think it's your contention that the Stonewall riots were much larger than the Los Angeles riots. Explain that to us.
Well, Stonewall Inn riots, and I don't know if it's for a proven fact, and the LA riots, they did happen at different times and for different reasons, but as I mentioned in the second segment, ignorance was still the main component of both of these. So LA riots, Rodney King was beaten, it shook up the black community, boom, there you go, LA riots. But then police start raiding gay clubs, shakes up the gay community, boom, Stonewall Inn riots. All because of people's ignorance. Why we have regular bars, what's so different between a gay bar? Just for different types of people. Oh well. And so basically police in Greenwich Village were so ignorant to just try and raid it and scare them that started the Stonewall Inn riots. And that's the same as what I just said about the LA riots. And now I was also saying in the second segment, I had commentary. I was saying that the LGBT movement, it's growing by the day, and it's getting stronger, and more people are starting to listen, and it's almost a form of bullying. I mean, because you're scaring lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people into hiding their true selves because of your ignorance and how you will try to treat them in society. I've seen stories of people who had to pretend that they weren't gay or LGBT because they wanted to get jobs or they wanted to go somewhere. And that's not a world that we should live in. We should live in a world where you're proud to be yourself. And right now, I was just thinking about the movie Imitation of Life. Now, the main character, she did not want to be black, and so she pretended that she was white because she had light skin, and she wanted to do that because she lived in a world where being black, and she lived in a community where being black wasn't accepted, and she didn't want to be associated with black.